At the KSMO studios, we welcome you to Thursday, July 11th, and we have a paid political interview right now with Denver Ellis. Denver, good to have you aboard, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Fine. Glad to have you here. And, of course, Denver running for 2nd District Commissioner. Good to have you, first off, into the KSMO studios. And it was exciting for me to see that you were going to run for office. I didn't know that you were interested in politics, number one, but number two, when I saw you there at the commissioner meetings and taking an interest in the county, I was thrilled to see your name get thrown onto the ballot.
Well, I've been interested for a while, and I wanted to go educate myself. So after the situation where we swapped roles with commissioners there, I said, I'm going to go sit in for a while. So I've been up there just about every Thursday since then, almost.
Yes, you have, and I do give you credit for that. And if you're going to learn about something, I guess the best way is to learn firsthand, right?
It is, absolutely.
All right, well, why don't you tell our listening audience a little bit about you, just a little bit about your background. Don't take too much time, as this is a paid political ad. So go ahead and just tell us real quickly about you and what got you interested into the arena of politics. Let's put it that way.
Okay, well, I'm a multi-generational native here in Dent County.
Right.
I'm son of Susie Bailey. And I've been here all my life, so I've grown up with everybody else in the Upper Ozarks up here. And I've been here. I was here, went to school here in Salem. I was part of the Shoe and Dillon era here at the football program here. I helped with the team there for many years, and
right.
I traveled with Mr. McDaniels and Keith Stillman as we had a lot of road miles together. And I learned a lot of. Those was all my kind of heroes, because my father wasn't in my life, so those was my heroes at the time, and they taught me a lot about integrity and determination, and what the world says can happen, it kind of sometimes does, as we all learn. So from that, I went through life. I'm now currently employed. I got a full-time job. I have a part-time job. I've been a bail bondsman here for this county and 7 other counties for the past 14 years. I do process serving. Now, on my bondsman license, Stan, what I'm going to do is I've not renewed that for this year.
Okay.
At the completion of the election in August here, if successful in my bid for my seat for commissioner, I will surrender that voluntarily to the state. I don't want I want complete transparency with any transaction. So I've not wrote a bond since I've committed myself to run for this seat.
And that's very good. That way nobody can say, hey, you're doing this to collect votes, you're doing this to make points. Very good on your part. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, I've totally. So if I'm successful, I will surrender my license to the state voluntarily. It's not mandatory. I don't have to do that, but I will do that.
Well, and one of the things I know at the meeting here, we're talking on Thursday, July 11th, you did bring in a petition to show the commission that people are interested in Senate Bill 190, protecting seniors' property rights so that they can obviously keep those taxes down, keep them in control. And you had a petition you brought in to show the commission that it's legitimate. People want this savings for senior citizens on their property tax bill.
Yes, I've been knocking on a few doors here and there, and I hand out my little palm cards, and on there it says I support Senate Bill 190, and I do. And I have a bunch of courageous fellows that come and corner me up at a coffee shop and said, hey, are you just blowing smoke at us, or are you committed to this? And I said, I'm committed to this. And I went home and I talked to my wife about it, and I'm thinking, I'm going to have to show these people that somebody's actually serious about doing something. I've been in a lot of commissioner meetings as other people, and the talk has been through the commissioner meetings, but so far there's been no proactive activity about anything.
Made, right, yeah.
So, I said, you know what? We're going to show these people that Denver Ellis is serious. And so I went and I had the language drawn up, and we submitted the courtesy petition this morning, which the deadline to do that is the 29th of July of this month, and we got to collect, I think, at minimum 5%, which is with 362 signatures, right, to officially have that placed on the ballot.
Okay, so an initiative petition, as you're doing, once you get everything done, and Angie and all them, they get everything, all the little nuts and bolts have to be worked out, a little whatever needs to be done. Once that initiative petition is signed by that 362 plus signatures, it automatically goes on the ballot.
Yes, it should. Yes.
Yeah. And so that's something that it doesn't matter what the commission does at that time. It will go in front of the people for a vote.
Yes.
If that petition is signed.
Correct.
Okay. So very good. So as you mentioned, you're supporting 190. So there also was an amendment to that bill. You're very well aware of 756, the Senate bill, which has tweaked a few things with that bill. And you are familiar with that, right?
Right. Yeah, it was signed by Governor Parsons on the 7th.
Okay.
And it just clarifies some of the verbiage and the legal language in there. Yes.
So we just can't say Senate Bill 190 anymore. I guess we have to say both of those bills.
Well, and this petition doesn't necessarily name Senate bill of anything in
right.
particular. It just says that it should put a freeze on the property taxes of their primary residence for senior citizens.
But it's all based off this.
Yes,
this
it's all. That's all the.
So anyway, it's a step forward. Somebody had to take the step, and you did that this morning on this Thursday, July 11th, to the commission and let them see exactly what direction you're going.
Right. Well, I'm my grandma told me a long time ago, Stan, there's a difference between being involved and committed. Mm-hmm. And the difference of involvement and committed, according to my grandma, Nee Nash, is like a ham and eggs breakfast. The chicken was involved and the pig was committed. And I've tucked that with me all the years of my life. And so, and I'm committed to doing this, and I'm committed to serving Denton County to the best of my ability.
You do know in politics what pork is, right?
Yes, I do.
So I love your ham and eggs analogy there. Very good. All right, very quickly though. No, we've got only a 15-minute interview here, so I want to get back to some of the things. You have we've talked about it. I didn't really know you knew too much about man in the biosphere, but people here remember the property rights and also remember the man in the biosphere. You don't hear much about it anymore, and Denver and I kind of talked about this before it came on the air, but it's still very prevalent out there, isn't it?
It absolutely is. In 1964, whenever the Congress did their act, and we had the 5 commissions of the 5 counties that established Ozark National Scenic Riverways down here, there were certain rights given back to our locals and our communities here that wasn't supposed to be infringed whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And I've been in a commissioner meeting up here a couple times in the past here in the last few months where I've heard where things was being done, still again closing off roads, and there's different things that's just happening. And this could be a 5-hour show by itself, Stan.
Oh, yes,
so I'm going to speed this up as much as I can here. And and people kind of shrug their shoulders like, what are we going to do? Well, I know that there's other counties that's involved in very proactive legal action right now to stop some of those things. And we need to protect our citizens, and we need to protect their property rights that's being, just taken away, and our culture and our traditions on that riverway down there that belongs to us. And
many accesses to the river have been shut off.
Yeah, the one at Tanvat, the new parking lot at Tanvat is just taking that access off the river, and they just made a parking lot out of it
for their own use.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, for their own use. So, but man in the biosphere also deals with personal property. Personal property rights, your rights to own land. To control the water.
And to give your land to your heirs as you come through, because now it's infringed. You just can't pass those lands on.
Right. Well, they made it more difficult. Let's put it that way.
Sir.
It's still possible to do it, but they have made it more difficult. So, but you are a very, very strong proponent of personal property. Keep giving me my rights. They're my rights. It's my property.
Well, I think that our servicemen and women have fought and died for the past several hundred years to install that for us, Stan. I think we have that right.
I do too. I have to absolutely agree with you. One of the things that you were talking a little bit about with me before we came on is, should elected officials give themselves a raise? I know that's kind of one of those, you're darned if you do, darned if you don't. But when you give yourself a direct raise, how do you feel about that? If you could say, hey, I think I deserve a raise, I'm going to vote to give me one.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with that, and this is my position on that. And
it's unfortunate Congress gets to do that, right?
It is, but we're not Congress. We're Denton County.
Sure.
And we got to take care of home first before we can take care of any place else.
That's true.
And so my feelings is if you're going to get a raise, if there's a vote for a raise, if that vote passes, then it should not go for that term. Maybe perhaps set that raise to the next term whenever somebody else is running. So when I filed for this office, which I really didn't know and I still don't know, because monetary is not my reason for running here. I don't know what it pays to be a commissioner here. But whatever it is, that's what I agreed to when I put my name on that ballot.
Right.
And I don't think that should change in that term. Now, if it changes the next term, that's fine. In fact, I've done some calculations of what it probably could be from what people's told me. So if I'm successful, Stan, if I'm successful in winning this race, I'm going to commit to returning back to a community organization $1,500 of that salary every single year to go to a good organization in this community, because I don't think it was fair to have done what was done.
Well, and that's very, very generous of you to do that. And a lot of people, they agree. I'm sure they agree with your assessment that yes, that should be done at the end of a term, and I agree with that too. However, we all know that that's not always the case.
Yes, sir.
And it can be unfortunate. One of the things that I've always admired when we've talked, or I've heard you talk at the commissioner meetings, is you're pretty much grassroots. You're the kind of down-to-earth guy, the door-to-door kind of guy, the handshake guy, talked earlier about being at the cafe and people coming up to you and questioning you. You don't duck that. As a matter of fact, sometimes I actually think you seek that out a little bit so that people get a better feel for what you're doing, right?
Well, let's take the parade, which you had excellent coverage that parade. Kudos for that.
Well, thank you.
I walked every step of that. I talked to as many people as I can. I like listening to people because people don't always want to come into an office. They don't always want to talk on the phone. So the best way to do it is eye to eye if you can, and you learn so much just by listening to someone. Someone you don't think may not have a lot to say has a lot to say, and it's very valuable to listen to each and every person that you can. I mean, I'm surprised that I don't know when the last time we've not had a town hall meeting here from the commissioner's office for a long time. I'd like to see those come back. I mean, is everybody going to be happy? No. But you talk to people, you let them know that they're human, you're on the same level, ain't nobody any better than anybody else. You resolve it as a community if you open those doors, I believe.
So you're running for 2nd District Commissioner, obviously.
Yes, sir.
These used to be called road judges. We all know that, okay? And you're going to be taking on a lot of responsibility for the upkeep of really the only infrastructure Denton County has, and that's the roads. Have you talked when you're out about talking to people about condition of those roads or what they would like to see done, or have you got some of your own ideas of what you would like to see done as you progress forward?
I'm not a road engineer. Okay, I'm not. I'm not going to pretend that I am, because I'm not. But I do know that when I've talked to a lot of people and a lot of the farmers around here, and necessarily right now what needs to happen is we have some of the best equipment money can buy in this county. It's almost all brand new. They've done an excellent job in supplying that for this county. I'll tip my hat to the commissioners for that right now. But I don't think that our crews are adequately trained on some of that equipment. So I think that we could better suit ourselves by better training, or maybe going back and making sure our ditches is cut for runoff, crowning our roads back maybe, because I haven't seen a lot of that in the last few years. I don't know why we trended away from that, but we did. I think that's a good start right there, is getting the proper training for the equipment so that the equipment can do the job and to make it easier on our crews. A lot of people, they're bashing at our crews all the time. Well, the crews is doing what they're asked to do. Leadership rolls downhill, and I don't think our crews is at fault. I think they need to be maybe better trained on what there's brand new equipment here, and technology just advances every day.
Wow, yeah.
And so I think if we start there and just build ourselves back up, I think we'll be all right.
Do you feel like some of that equipment's underutilized because they're not trained properly?
Stan, I'm to be totally honest with you, I don't know exactly what equipment they're not using out there. I've not ventured out to our county shed. I did not want to cross that boundary of being like an imperator thing. So I have not went and talked to that crew. I've been so tempted. But I've fought that temptation, because I think that their voice is very important, and we never hear that voice.
Very, very good. So you have a little get-together tonight, correct?
Oh, yeah. Hopefully it's a big get-together.
Okay. All right. So you might want to explain it in our last minute and a half or so, what's going on tonight and where.
Well, at the Armory out here at the Community Center at 6 o'clock, we're going to host a big round table of all the local candidates supposed to be there. Elected officials, everybody has been invited to this thing. Our state representative for the 120th district, those candidates will be there as well. I'm not sure who is actually confirmed or not confirmed. Mike Pike has taken the lead on making sure that this has all been put together. I want to be totally transparent with this, so I don't know anything that's going to happen any different than any other candidate out there. But I would encourage everybody to come out there and listen and ask questions. and don't be afraid to say what's on your mind. I mean, respectfully so, but
Sure.
just speak up, because if you don't speak up, nobody hears you.
And you definitely need to bring your questions, but then you get a chance to actually meet these people in person.
And look them in the eye.
And look them in the eye. Talk to them. Talk to them as an interested, not only person in your community, but as an interested voter, because you want to make the best vote. You want to make your vote count.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Because everyone, I hear everywhere, Stan, what happened to our community? Why don't we do these things? You know, well, time changes. That's part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the other part is it just seems like the morale of the county is declined, because the community doesn't seem like there's a lot of division around here right now, and that there needs to be a healing of that.
Denver Ellis, our candidate for 2nd District Commissioner. And again, a little roundtable get-together tonight, 6 o'clock, Salem Community Center at the Army. It's open to everyone.
Absolutely. Lots of donuts, coffee, tea, lemonade.
Wow. Sounds
Cookie.
like a true meal.
Absolutely. Come on out.
Well, we want to thank you for coming in. Again, it's a paid political ad paid for by Denver to discuss a little bit about what he sees in the community. And thank you again for spending some time with us on KSMO and streaming on KSMO Media. We do appreciate you. And thank you again for running. And I was kind of surprised that I saw you run. I didn't know that this was part of maybe the makeup of you. And you kind of took me by surprise. And I thought,
run a little deeper than most people know, Stan.
I guess you do, and you really shocked me. But I tell you what, it's been a pleasant shock, because you have really shown your interest in our county and our commission, and putting yourself out there and trying to learn as much as you possibly can. And should you win, you're not going to go in there blind.
No, absolutely not. And, you know, I appreciate you, and the support I've had here in the community so far has been just phenomenal. It's been really great, and I hope to be back here maybe next week, and we'll talk about what happens tonight then.
All right, Denver Ellis, candidate for 2nd District Commissioner here in Dent County. Thank you, Denver.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Have a
it.
blessed day.
Thank you, sir. Here at KSMO Radio, we stick around. We've got some